Ladies and gentlemen, back at it again. It is the legendary, and since we are on Friday nights of the Nerd Round Table, can you dig it? Yeah. And guess what? Fine listeners and viewers, today is the 775th episode of Nerdorama, commencing on the round table. Can you dig it?
That's insane.
Nice.
Twala, you cannot say ladies and gentlemen anymore. You know, Disneyland took out ladies and gentlemen from their initial greeting, so we have to remain current with the times. You can't say ladies and gentlemen anymore.
So what we say?
Just
Persons?
Yeah, you can say persons, throw in some pronouns, that kind of thing.
Nerds and geeks?
Nerds and geeks. Okay.
No.
You
can't designate any type of sex.
Nerds and freaks.
There we go.
Oh, shit. Nerds and geeks. Nerds and geeks. That seems to cover almost everyone.
Yeah.
Just like Melania Trump, there will be no reference to sex.
Oh,
hello, Dr. Liz. Eventually.
No, kind of, sort of. Boom. There she is. Dr. Liz in the building. How is everyone doing today?
Hot.
Oh, Liz is sighing.
It is hot. It is hot. But I did go see Candyman.
And was it good?
Oh,
how was it?
I actually very much enjoyed it. For those of you who are wondering, this is not a reboot. This is a pure sequel. It is not a reboot at all. They are not retelling the story from the original movie. It is a continuation of the story of the original movie. And you're not quite sure because the way it starts would lead you to indicate that it's a reboot. But gradually, as things are revealed, you understand that it literally is a pickup and a continuation of the original story. And they expand the mythology to rationalize why everything that you've seen in the trailer about the character who used to give out candy with a hook hand and all that. They expand the mythology and tie it back to the Tony Todd character, who does have a cameo.
I was just about to ask that. Okay,
that's good. That's good.
Albeit he's de-aged. It's not all Tony. It's Tony plus some CGI trickery.
I mean, you kind of have to.
35 years?
Yeah, it's been a long time. And I will say this, for those of you who do run out and go see it this weekend, it's not a post-credit scene, but you should stay through the credits because I don't know, those of you who saw that original Haunting trailer, this is kind of pre-lockdown, that had all of the little shadow puppets, the little paper puppets that was so lyrical and beautiful and scary. That whole sequence, we only saw about 2 minutes of it in the original trailer. It runs about 5 or 6 minutes long. And it is well worth watching. And it kind of ties together some of the overarching themes of the movie. So definitely worth it. It's Jordan Peele. I mean, it's well done. It's well crafted, well acted, well directed.
Dope.
Some very fun moments. And if I may, it's not a spoiler, but there is literally a scene where Teyana Paris, known to us as Photon, actually name drops Jordan Peele's next film when she is confronted with a choice, and she very logically and reasonably, as most Black people would, literally says, "Nope." I cackled out loud.
Very
in other words, like what Black people don't do in horror movies.
Bam.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was it's well worth it. Worth seeing for sure.
Okay. Look, I'm always hesitant to see a horror film just because it's hard for me to mentally let go of them. Much less going in and to see it in a theater. And then Jordan Peele films.
Yeah,
Jordan Peele, he has a special place when it comes to horror. So I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Now, is that available online anywhere, like on Amazon?
No.
Okay, not legal. Okay,
This is a universal feature. So just like F9, there is a theatrical window. I can tell you this though, according to Box Office Mojo, it took in $8.4 million yesterday.
That's fantastic.
I mean, that's
really,
I guess
really
that's
good.
including technically because Thursdays are
And it's a
included
horror
into
film.
Fridays.
Yeah.
So 8.4 million. The projected weekend, according to Box Office Mojo, is 19 million, which to me feels a little light because if they took in 8.4 on the Thursday, I think the multiplier is probably going to be a little bit better than that for the overall weekend. But it was very well done.
But what's the budget? 35, 40 million maybe?
It can't be
I don't
that
even
much.
know if it was that.
Yeah.
Let's see if it. So Angie, yes, we were talking about it. Don't be on the fence. Go see it. Let's see. Candyman. That's the third time I've said it. Just so I'm saying. I'm
That's
30
on
million. Yeah, about 30 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in 3,500. It's on 3,500 theaters. Don't know how many screens.
That's
I
a
saw
wide
it.
release.
It is a wide release. I saw it in a Prime theater, and I have to say, Prime is like first class. Dolby is business class, but Prime is first class. They put like an extra foot of space in the aisleway, so it's not like that booty twist scooting boogie trying to get past, even when your legs are fully extended. You can walk past somebody in Prime. And so Prime is like my new joint for AMC's, at least. Bigger screen, the full deal with all the it's basically their best non-IMAX offering is what Prime is. It's an AMC thing. So a lot of people have Dolby, AMC has Prime, and it's worth it. I mean, especially if you're A-list and don't have to pay any more extra for it anyway. So
Okay.
Hey, something that caught my attention and I wasn't expecting it. And I forgot how good it is to watch it now, especially with Shang-Chi coming out. But on Disney Plus, they just re-released All Hail the King. And like when you watch it now and then watch the trailers for Shang-Chi, it's like, whoa, the connective. It's a lot more sinister and it's a lot more real. And it's like you really look at the fact that they told us then that the Mandarin was coming. So when you see this film now, that's why he's in it. So maybe he's just in it just to be killed. But go back and rewatch All Hail the King. Very, very good.
The Marvel one shot.
The one shot.
Yeah.
Well, Tuala, to your point, I do appreciate Marvel paying off the one shots. All of them have had relevance going forward. The one shot with the Abomination had relevance going forward. The one shot with Trevor had relevance going forward. They weren't just outside the universe. They were actually pushing the story forward. We just couldn't see the bigger picture. And so I really do appreciate that.
Yeah. Which, bringing us all around to Marvel this week, another fantastic episode of What If dropped. What if the world's mightiest Avengers had been killed? And I gotta say, this was a very, very dark episode. This was one I was like,
best one.
Damn, man, like there was nothing happy about this shit at all.
Had the best villain, that's for sure.
It was reminiscent of, I think, of the DC animated property where DC has no problem going dark. You don't see that as much with Marvel with its heritage characters. They went very dark. And for me, I would have loved to have seen a live action version of that episode.
I had no idea who the main villain was until I saw him. I was like,
me either.
Hope. I was like thinking, who the hell was Hope? What? And then I saw him. I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
And it was Michael Douglas too.
Yeah.
Right.
It
was.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of a universe where Nick Fury's Avengers are undone before they even get a chance to start is an amazing concept. And then when you look at Dr. Hank Pym's like kind of issues with the beginning of S.H.I.E.L.D., this takes us back to the beef he had when he stormed out of the room and you have Peggy Carter and everyone in the room and he punches homeboy in the face and he's like, I'm not fucking with S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm out. It takes that to another level and it's like, wow, dude. And really, truly, it's like, whoa, so is he the most dangerous character within the Avengers, it's like, you think, yeah, Hulk is powerful, but when you saw what he did to Bruce Banner, you're like, oh shit, I never thought of that. I never thought of any of the ways this dude was going around killing folks.
It took me a while to kind of process that death, but then I realized that the MCU is already basically nerfed the Hulk. So I kind of like, okay, that makes sense. And plus, Hank Pym, he's like one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hank Pym played Batman in this episode. This was Batman's countermeasures against the JLA. That's what this was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I saw that Michael Douglas was featured as a voice actor in this, I said, how is Michael Douglas involved? And certainly by the time Black Widow kind of reveals the whole thing, it's patently obvious who the person is. But I found myself, in retrospect, I was like, how could a bullet do that to the Hulk until they showed, this is spoiler free. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he used one of his Pym discs and blew up the Hulk's heart. I mean, that was just the Hulk couldn't compensate for that.
Dude, the only thing that made me kind of chuckle is the death of Black Widow, because she keeps on yelling, "It's Hope! It's all about Hope! Hope! Motherfucker, just say Hope Pym! Just fucking say her full fucking name!" It's like a dude's like, this motherfucker's got a knife! Run, motherfucker, run! I mean, just what are you doing? Say the full fucking name!
I thought you were saying Hulk.
I thought she was saying Hulk too. And Nick Fury, we're led to believe that Nick Fury thought she was saying Hulk as well.
Really? I thought,
because only it was after that he said Hope, and he went to the funeral. I mean, he went to the cemetery. So at first, I thought she said Hulk. And to your point, Ryan, you're a spy girl. The easier thing to say is Hank Pym's beating my ass.
She's like, I'm thinking like a black dude in a horror movie.
Now, okay,
all right.
Now, see, with that thing, I thought that they were trying to throw us for a loop, and they were trying to lead us believe that it was actually Hope, and Hope had somehow survived. Because I was thinking to myself, maybe Hope Van Dyne had gone rogue. So then when it turned out to be, Hank Pym, I was like, oh, snap. Okay, so it was him. I thought she had maybe faked her death, and that's why she was saying it's all about Hope. So I was like, interesting. Like there was a little bit of them trying to throw us off of her trail or his trail altogether.
I got to circle back very quickly because I appreciate how Marvel, Ryan will call it fan servicing. I just say you're paying it back to the fans. They rewarded everyone who had seen all of Marvel Phase 1 and Phase 2. They took maybe 5 or 6 different movies, and they said, if you've seen these movies, the scenes where they're coming from, and rewrote all those movies and then put it in a what if episode. And I really appreciated that, because it's like, yes, I remember the Incredible Hulk when they were on the campus at the university, standing at that overpass and everything. And you could see how that played out. Just everything they did. It was so well done. It's my favorite what if so far.
Even all the little inside jokes with Thor. Oh, he smells like lavender. I mean, like, they just...
The
motherfucker's dead. He's still like, let me smell this dude before I leave the room.
So I take a slightly different opinion than Mo, because to me, this what if didn't, because they were trying to make it a mystery, it didn't take the fundamental inflection point which really started the episode. It wasn't what if all the Marvel of the mightiest heroes had been killed. It was what if Hope Van Dyne became an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was the unseen moment that actually created this divergent thing, because she had to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be killed, and that's what sent Hank on into his Yellow Jacket persona. And I did think that was cool, that just like in the comics, Yellow Jacket wasn't just a new costume, it was a whole divergent personality that emerged from Hank, and he was beating his wife, and there was all these things that Hank Pym was doing. But as comic fans know, Hank Pym created Ultron.
Yes.
It wasn't Tony Stark. It was Hank Pym. And Hank Pym was fitzing around with some of the fundamental forces of the universe, making things small, making things big, whatever, Pym particles, named after himself. This dude was dealing with forces.
He was doing a whole lot of demons.
He was doing a lot of stuff. And there are a lot of polymaths in the MCU. Reed Richards comes to mind. Obviously Tony Stark. But even the Hulk is not a genius in as broad a number of fields as Hank Pym is, or Reed Richards.
Not in the engineering sense.
Not in the engineering sense. And so this guy was the thing that tickled me is that they gave him crazy hair in a cartoon. His hair looks so raggedy.
And his eyes too, man.
Oh, his eyes were crazy. He had meth eyes. I was
like he was on a bender.
Yeah, he was. He was really doing all that.
What's interesting about the animation, and I thought it was interesting how when you look at, like, say, the Hulk scene when he's leaping out of the window, when you look at the Thor scenes, when you look at so many of the different scenes that happen, it almost looked like they did an animated overlay over those actual scenes. Like they may have taken the scenes that existed and said, you know what, let's just do it. Because if they were too on point, I was like, how long did it take you to capture all of those movements? I went back and said, let me watch that scene with the Hulk. And I'm like, damn, side by side, this shit, movement for movement, it's the same. The Thor going through, even the way Hawkeye had arched back the arrow, like, give the word. I was like,
just like the movie.
Wow, you guys are really, really detailed with this. Like, you're putting a lot into an animated series, a whole lot.
I ended at the end was like, oh my gosh, who's left? What other Avenger? Who can save the world?
Well, that was a dope turnaround, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
that was a dope
nobody
turnaround.
Could save the world. It ended up being Loki's game, and I mean, I guess Black Panther was still around. Okay, well, he dusted off Captain America, but he was still frozen.
Yes.
So it's almost like you can say that. Without these, there's always going to be an Avengers. There's always someone out there. They're just turned out to be a different threat that they were coming together to fight, which is also interesting when you think about the original Avengers and how they were coming together in the first place was to fight Loki.
Yeah. Oh, it was Captain Marvel who came back. Captain Marvel came back. He dusted off Captain America's shield, but Captain Marvel showed up at the end.
Yeah.
Presumably to fight Loki. I did enjoy this. I enjoyed the darkness of it. I guess I was thrown on the what if angle of it. I didn't mind it as an Elseworlds kind of story because it was cool and I liked that it was a murder mystery. Sorry, Scarlett, I didn't miss your voice. Just FYI.
Hey, look, she keeps dying. No matter what, they're very clear that she is going to die. Yeah, they're very clear that there is no continuation.
She's the Uncle Ben of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes.
There's a lot of blood on her ledger.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So that was really it was a cool episode. It just didn't, because what ifs were always predicated kind of like on a single moment. This one was one that I didn't think delivered on that score, but as a show to watch, I did enjoy it.
You're wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah, I know that you like this is your favorite one. I'm just saying
it was fantastic. It was a masterpiece. It was,
I wouldn't say it was a masterpiece, but I liked it a lot.
Masterpiece. God damn it was a masterpiece.
I mean, look, if the question is what if Earth's mightiest heroes were killed essentially before they even started?
Yes.
You got 30 seconds. You got about 30 seconds of that question.
We got 5 movies put into this episode. And I think if you've seen the other movies, then you can better appreciate what this what if episode delivered to you. You had to have seen The Incredible Hulk. You had to have seen Captain Marvel. You had to have seen Thor, the original one. You had to have seen all these movies to best appreciate this. I appreciate how much work, to Tuala's point, how they went they mimicked scene by scene, beat by beat, a lot of these scenes. And if you hadn't seen the movies, then you wouldn't appreciate it. And if you're Tom, you're just wrong. But I really did like it.
Okay, so let me ask this question, as opposed to presenting my correct opinion on this. In What If T'Challa Became Star-Lord, you saw the impact of that question almost from the very first scene.
Yep.
Captain Carter episode, you saw the impact of the answer to the question after the very first scene. You didn't see the impact of what if Earth's mightiest heroes had fallen until the last 30 seconds when Loki stood up in front of the UN. That's
I'm okay
all
with that.
part of.
I got
But
you.
that was
It's
the
a different
only
story.
thing that answers that question. The question was, what if Earth's mightiest heroes had been killed, and what if they had
Loki
been
rises.
killed? But Loki didn't. My point is that we were set up in the first 2 episodes of What If, just like the comic books, frankly.
Yeah.
The question is posed on the cover of the comic book, and you are right into basically the answer. After they say, in the original way, this happened, but what if this had happened? You are launched right headlong into the answer to that question. This whole episode was about how the Avengers got killed, not what the consequence of them being killed was. And to
Hey, Tom.
see it at the end with it still unresolved, because it didn't get resolved with the Chitauri taking over. It didn't get resolved with Thanos coming to Earth and giving him the mind gem or whatever. It didn't get resolved with any of that. It was an open question of, well, maybe Captain Marvel, who's really the mightiest chick that we've seen, maybe she's really going to kick Loki's ass and be done with it, since she could almost kick Thanos' ass.
It was
So
kind
I'm
of
just
like
saying-
the best way I can explain it is it's like this episode was like The Empire Strikes Back, basically, because you don't know what's going to
I agree
happen
with that.
next.
But I didn't need it.
It was really dark too, so it was great.
But it's like it's not an algorithm where if this then that. I didn't need it to be that. It posed the question: what if Earth's mightiest heroes died before they even came together? That's the if. Then if it left it open for speculation, I was cool with that. I wasn't burdened by the source material in the sense of it needs to follow certain beats or a certain script as far as you pose the question and it has to be answered a certain way. I'm open to just accepting it in how they want to tell the story. I absolutely loved it, and I remain in the opinion that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Since there was no Tony and there was no apparently Loki didn't even have to use the Chitauri to invade, because he just took over with Asgardians, which is another that's a pretty big difference. But be that as it may, so does New York end up getting nuked? Because basically what we're saying is that's the issue.
Probably not.
The question is, what if Loki had beaten the Avengers kind of in issue 1? What if issue 1 of the Avengers kind of went a different way and Loki actually ran the planet? Perhaps that's a question to explore. I just think that in this what if, we didn't really get the answer. All we got was Loki, who is perpetually a loser, according to his own miniseries, was temporarily standing in front of the UN and before Captain Marvel beat his ass, which I guess is fine. I didn't hate the episode. I just don't think it was the best one.
But I was fine with that ambiguity as far as the ending. I mean, I think everything changed because Loki did not come by force. He came by diplomacy, which changes the New York telling of the first Avengers film in the MCU. Because he came with the Chitauri and came by force, then the nuclear weapon was introduced into that. But in this telling, he didn't use force. He kind of talked his way into it, and the force was implied. So there wasn't a city to destroy.
Do you think Thanos had contacted him by the events of this film? Because when you think about it,
No.
Who was the last Avenger added to the lineup?
I don't think Thanos was even around.
I don't know. How did he get the Mind Stone originally?
He got the Mind Stone from the Other. He was referred to as the Other at the end of the Avengers. So my question is, the last Avenger to be added was Thor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thor was the last movie before, because we had Iron Man 2. Hulk was Iron Man, then Hulk. Iron Man 2, Black Widow brought in, and Hawkeye was brought in Thor.
Yeah.
Oh no, Captain America.
But
Captain
still
America,
Thor was the last movie before it launched right into Avengers.
The Avengers.
Yeah.
So Captain America came before Thor. Okay, so fine.
Yeah.
So by the time Loki came to Earth, it seems like a stretch to believe that Thanos had not been in contact with him, even though he didn't need the Chitauri to invade because all of Asgard was up in arms at the death of the Crown Prince. It certainly seems that probably the Other had reached out to him sometime after the opening sequence of Thor, which was all taking place on Asgard before he got sent down to Earth. It
Yeah,
seems
it's
reasonable.
possible, but this film, it supersedes his need to even do a deal with
Right. Right.
with him in the first place. It's like at this point, it's like when the whatchamacallit, the what is Thor's
Destroyer?
homies called? The Jovial
the
Three.
Warriors
What the fuck
Three.
is this home? The Warriors Three.
Warriors
I said the Jovial Three. Okay, look. So before, like, if you look at how when they came to him and they said, "Hey, Loki, we got to go down to Earth and we got to, rescue,
Avenge.
Thor, or and bring him back, and you have to do away with this, because Odin is in the Odin sleep." And this one, it was like, look, fucking Thor was killed after, Odin went down there. Now I don't even need Thanos. I actually have the might of Asgard to go down there and say, we sent him down there for punishment and they killed him. And now we're going, so it's like, man, I don't need to deal with Thanos. If my ultimate goal was to destroy, Thor's precious homeworld, or just to rule this damn
But he
mud ball,
wanted to rule Midgard. He said that.
he wanted to rule it. Yeah. So he
Loki
got it. So
didn't
it's like, why do a deal?
Loki didn't even run into Thanos until he failed in Thor. So
Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that he didn't even know Thanos yet, or even meet Thanos yet in this episode.
Yeah, he was middle management.
Yeah.
And also,
perhaps.
and also, where was Odin? Now, did Loki already kill Odin? Because it looks like he's running things now.
No,
Well, he's running things on
I think
Midgard.
that he's running things in the sense that if he's avenging the brother, Odin
Yes.
becomes
right.
and Odin becomes kind of like a mute conversation, because Odin could be, just he may not even be in an Odin sleep. It is just
no,
the
he's not.
notion
Yeah. That's my
that
question. We don't really
this
know.
is a punishment.
Is he sleeping?
Right.
Yeah.
No, he sent
Him
Loki
leading-
as his emissary to solve the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
He didn't
All right.
he didn't
So
need to
who
make his
cares?
presence
Yeah.
known. He sent Loki with the destroyer to wreck shop.
So what you think
And
Odin would
also-
let? Wait. So you think that Odin would let Loki then rule Earth?
Why wouldn't he though? Because
Yeah.
remember, without
His
Thor,
son
there
was
is
dead.
no one saying, "Hey, Odin, this planet's under my protection," and we come to learn that that's what Asgard had been doing for years with Hela. They've been going around conquering worlds.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
reason that they
Right.
hadn't set their
Yeah.
sights really on Earth is because Thor's like, I'm fucking Jane, so leave it
Hey,
alone.
Hey, don't you have to be in Asgard to control the destroyer? I interpret it as Odin was controlling the destroyer.
Maybe.
Because
He didn't
Loki
really
was
do
on
very
Midgard.
much. Yeah, the destroyer didn't actually do much. He looked cool, but he didn't do much in this episode.
But that was a tie to the original Thor movie, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Well,
But I thought
also remember
Loki-
how
didn't
they
Loki
controlled. They
take
had the
over?
damn box down there. They
Yeah,
had
he
the damn
cast of
what's it
Ancient
called?
Winters.
He
He
did.
had
Mhm.
the cast of
Yeah.
Ancient Winters.
Yeah, he did.
Which was pretty
Frost,
cool.
whatever. Frost Giant box.
The frost
Yeah, I
thing.
was
So
just
it's like
I was just waiting for Hiddleston to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation of "I put you on ice."
No. That's what DC does.
It was almost the
DC
same
does that
thing.
DC does that in the middle of movies. They stop and say, "I know, I'm hot." That's a DC.
Oh.
the MCU doesn't do stupid shit like that. They
Rent
don't.
free, rent
That was
free.
so horrible. Let's have a
Bad.
DC Titans break.
I
Oh,
don't
man,
know.
look.
I don't know. 'Cause
No,
I mean,
don't, because I'm
Supergirl
5
this week
episodes in and it hasn't
rough.
gotten better. All right, Titans
No,
is not
you
getting
watched
better.
5
It's getting worse.
episodes, 5?
Yeah, I just watched episode 5 today. It's not getting better, especially when you
stopped at
find
2.
out
Of course, it's not going to
Why?
get better.
No.
when you see how and why Jason Todd is doing what he's doing. You go, this is
Wait, he's
juvenile at best.
He's
No.
already the Red Hood,
This
right?
is what this
Yeah, he's,
bugs me.
Oh, you didn't get there,
Jason
Mark.
Todd is back.
This is what bugs me about Jason Todd.
He
All right,
stopped
so
it too.
he gets
He stopped
he
it
gets
too.
caught or quote unquote killed by Joker so easily, comes back, and all of a sudden he's fucking Superman. Basically, no one can stop him. I'm like,
No, you
The hell?
here when you watch this episode, they go back 3 months and you get to see exactly
I'm not
how
doing all
all
that.
this came together.
You know
Well,
what?
but
You have
wait.
to remember that Tawala will suffer through some
Yeah.
of the
Anything.
most horrible stuff,
True.
like the people who traveled around the world and the universe on
Yes, the Legends of Tomorrow. Yes.
He
Hey,
will
can
suffer
I do watch
through
the
this
Legends of
stuff.
Tomorrow.
Can I just interject one thing? We've had some requests for us to talk about The Expanse and it is really, really good. If we could get everyone to watch like 2 or 3 episodes of the first season, it's available everywhere you can find it.
Okay.
It is for sci-fi, genuine nerds in the sense of real sci-fi, and like I would say the Alien tradition, in the sense of like real spaceships, real physics regarding space and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
It's
now
Earth
every time I've seen
future.
the trailers or previews or anything, and again, because I don't know, but it's like I'm thinking, is this a cross between that Halle Berry series and Firefly? Like, what is the gist of it? What is the story about?
I would just say watch the first 2 episodes. It's Earth, natural evolution in space, maybe 100 years from now, but it's not Star Trek. It's definitely more. It's darker than Star Trek. Is
it like if NASA was run by evil people? Like, what's happening?
No, do you remember the movie Outland with Sean Connery?
Oh yeah,
nah.
It's in that vein. It's more like Soldier with Kurt Russell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Soldier.
It's along those lines. It's darker, but it's more realistic in terms of military and hegemony, expansion, colonialism.
So the Expanse is the Earth expanding their power base in space.
Yes. There's
geopolitical, like a dark federation,
geopolitical, but it's more heliosphere political. It's deep in that regard, and I'm sorry that it took me so long to get to it, but highly recommend for serious sci-fi fans.
Now streaming on Amazon.
Prime. C is back on Apple TV.
Yeah,
Apple TV. What's
on Apple TV, girl?
C. Jason Momoa. C.
Is back.
Look, I'm not watching C, but because my phone was part of the hack, the T-Mobile hack, I do get I don't know, 2 years of Apple TV free or whatever.
What?
Apple TV Plus? Yeah.
Look, it's better than HBO.
Yeah, there was a major T-Mobile hack, and T-Mobile's like, "We're sorry, we're going to give you this channel for free."
It says a lot.
No, it doesn't. The movies are bad.
Yeah, but I mean, between
The Banker was good.
Banker was good.
Banker was terrific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
The
Banker.
There's a lot of good shows on Apple TV.
A lot is saying a lot.
On HBO. That's what I'm talking about.
It's better than HBO.
Like I said, that's not too hard.
It's better than Titans.
$5, you're getting your money's worth.
I haven't seen anything on Apple TV that I consider to be better than Lovecraft Country. I'll just say that.
No,
I agree with that.
And so if when you think of Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 5, at least
maybe 6.
No, Westworld.
6, yeah,
maybe
even Westworld. First 2 seasons of Westworld for
series, sure. Look, HBO series are terrific. The movies.
Yeah, it's the only reason to have HBO Max.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just, I mean,
certainly
just
not
throw the movies away.
Look, especially if you're gonna start making me pay a commercial version. Fuck that.
The what?
The commercial free version.
What is that? Ain't no commercials on HBO.
Right? No, but see, here's what I'm saying.
You can skip those 2, can't you?
From my understanding is that they're about to have 2 different versions. One where there are commercials and one where there are not commercials.
Oh, you can kiss all my ass.
You can.
That's why you're paying for it.
The whole thing.
Right?
You're paying for it.
What HBO was originally founded, no commercials.
That's the point.
Home box office.
Now,
I guess to the point that in their series, there was probably always a long-term plan to attempt to monetize them on regular broadcast television, at least the ones that were not so over the top. Like I can imagine Sex and the City remastered in HD. They already made that available to broadcast television with just some of the raciest bits just cut out. And there are shows on HBO that were, padded at 50 something minutes because they knew they needed to make it to 44 to make, commercial avails in the time slots to fill the gaps. So I get that, but I'll be damned if you're going to try to charge me for a version of HBO Max that doesn't include commercials that I have not had in as an HBO Max subscriber.
That's what they're rolling out.
That's some old bullshit.
No,
I agree.
It's a whole lot of bullshit.
The movies are trash. I know.
But
well, it's like I could imagine them putting commercials in between the series, though. So, like the series that they have, like when you watch even Titans, it's still shot in a way that like, okay, I get it. This is a commercial break. What the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
the
But here's
commercial
the
breaks in
problem.
Titans would actually be better than Titans.
Look,
Well,
2021 was supposed to be the best year for HBO Max because they were giving us all these first run movies, which are not going to happen in 2022.
Roll those movies in the garbage.
No such
That
thing as a
last
free
movie
lunch.
Yeah.
was so bad. What was the name
Yeah.
of that? I don't even know if we should even mention the name.
Look,
But
I spent
Hugh
2 hours
Jackman,
with Tom
I
on the
love.
phone for the little things.
oh, you're talking
At
about
1 in the
Reminiscence.
morning.
Oh no, that was
It's false.
bullshit. No. Little things.
So again-
Little things was. Listen, Dune. If Dune is what I hope and expect Dune to be, then I will deal with the fact that I had to wade through 12 other bullshit releases. Dune is one of my favorite properties of all time. I have read all of the books that Frank Herbert actually wrote.
I don't think
Not-
they can bring it to the screen. I don't think so. I talked about this with Twala. I don't think they can do Dune justice on the screen. I think it's too big for the screen. I really do.
Well,
Hugh
I think there's a lot of.
Jackman's movie was horrible.
No, you're talking about Reminiscence. Ain't nobody talking about Reminiscence.
that shit was horrible.
I think there are elements of Dune as far as the universe building and all of the political intrigues. It's definitely not something that lends itself toward a regular, a standard cinematic release. But
Right.
if Villeneuve's vision is actually played out and it is set up as a trilogy of films, I think in 6 hours you could do the Dune book. I mean, they tried in the sci-fi
Well-
miniseries, but instead of just doing just Dune, they also did God Emperor of Dune kind of blended in there, and the special effects were shitty, and James McAvoy was poor casting, and da. You were trying to do too much. But if this is a chapter of Dune,
It is.
it's not the whole thing. So
Nope.
I think in 2+ hours, and I trust Villeneuve's, at least his visual. He is a very visual director. I enjoyed a lot of the visuals of Blade Runner 2049. I enjoyed The Arrival. There are things about him that gives me faith that he's serious about doing justice to this property, and the cast is wonderful. So
Yes, it is.
I mean, fingers crossed. If he messes this up, there's not going to be another Dune. So
No.
I'm prayerful.
Well, they've already
that-
greenlit the second one.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good then. And
Now,
Zendaya's having a hell of a decade. Shit.
Yes, she is.
God
Now, for
damn.
Can we
clarity's
talk about
sake,
Spider-Man now? The trailer?
Isn't
Can we
she?
do that?
all right, real quick, just for clarity's
Oh,
Oh
sake,
yeah,
It's
we're in
almost
38
due.
minutes. We got to
understand.
talk about that.
The HBO Max plans. What's happening is anyone who has the $9.99 a month plan, the $100 a year plan, is now going to start getting ads. Ad-free plan is the $14.99 or $150 a year.
Nope. Not doing all that.
So that's what's happening. So anyone who got that $9.99 startup and you didn't go in spring for the 14, you're going to get ads.
Still ain't getting my
That's
money.
what's about to
Nope.
jump off.
No, sir.
Yeah, really. I'm like, fuck out of here. Y'all are tripping. Period.
You can get something, a piece of something, or all or nothing. I don't care.
Yeah, shit. But the the
The Eternals
long-awaited Spider-Man
Yeah,
No
let's
Way
get into this.
Eternals,
Okay.
fucking No Way Home trailer. It was well worth the wait.
Yes.
And when I saw
somebody
it, the
got
shit
fired.
was so good and it was so crazy. I was like, there's no way that this can be real. There's a
Somebody got
fan
fired.
put this together because there's no way that this trailer with everything they showed us and as dope as this, I was like, no, this is impossible. There's no way that they're literally showing us, fucking Doc Ock and Green Goblin and fucking Sandman. There's no way they're
Electro.
showing us all these different characters, Electro. There's no way they're doing this. And then it's real.
And
This
it's
was
just
not
a
a
teaser too.
teaser.
They haven't shown everything. They haven't shown
Well,
everything yet.
break down for those who haven't seen the trailer the cues or clues of what we know in terms of multiverse, the villains and so forth.
Well, the one thing that I thought first and foremost that I took away from the trailer is that this film is taken from the Spider-Man One More Day storyline, wherein after Civil War and he revealed his identity to the world, he regretted it instantaneously, went to Doctor Strange and said, Doctor Strange, You know, I know I'm an Avenger now. Everyone's down with me. I did this major thing. I thought it was going to be good, but it's not. I need you to erase my identity from the world. And it turned out that Mephisto had a plan, a hand in it, all that. Whole lot of shit went down.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they're taking just the idea of this from. And this is where we start from Spider-Man being Spider-Man, or the Tom Holland Spider-Man constantly messing shit up. Shit goes awry. They instantaneously drop into the multiverse. And from there, my question is, and this is where I was kind of thrown. When we see all of this multiversal Doctor Strange world collapsing and him talking about, we know dangerously little about the multiverse. When we finally see the reveals of the villains in this film, are we now seeing the multiverse all collapsed on each other? Because when we see the Green Goblin bomb, when we see Electro's lightning blast, when we see Sandman and the storm brewing, and we see Doc Ock's tinsel come down, and when he says what is he, hello Peter, and Peter, he gets into his Iron Spider suit, because this is a trailer, we don't know who he was talking to, because one of us in the thread put out that
he could have been talking to Maguire.
Garfield and the Tobey Maguire, who's looking very chunky, a la in the little clip, a la his Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse version of himself, which is who he is in this film.
Right.
Which Spider-Man was Doc Ock talking to in this trailer? It's very, very clear that all these individuals are in this fucking film, man.
Back to your point about Doctor Strange saying that the multiverse is something that we know very little about. In Doctor Strange 1, they made it seem like they knew a lot about the multiverse, or maybe I just misinterpreted what they were saying.
Remember, Wong did too. Wong was showing him. He was kind of like, oh, okay, sure. Let me get the cliff notes. He was like, yeah, I'm trying to rush through this. Even when Wong was walking out the door, going on, possibly going to go and fight Abomination, because he was leaving. And we know he goes off and he gets into the ring with Abomination somehow. Maybe that's where he went to. Doctor Strange and the wink he gave him, is he just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway? I don't know.
So this is what occurred to me as we were watching this, because everybody, I think, was preparing for a teaser. For this to be the very first thing that dropped about this movie, the very first footage anybody had seen, I don't think this was intended to be the trailer. It was very long. It struck me as more of the sort of, we've got some footage for you. It's going to be amazing. You're not going to believe what we're about to show you, blah, blah, blah. Because apparently this was dropped at Sony's CinemaCon or whatever. And somebody, got the little video, that horrible, grainy, tiny bullshit video that we saw.
Right. And somebody got fired.
The thing that was the bigger problem was that Reddit had a complete point-by-point breakdown of everything that happened in the video. And so to me, if this were really a teaser, it would have had MJ and Peter on the roof. It would have had J. Jonah Jameson, this is Spider-Man. It would have had the interview with the cops. You killed Mysterio. And then maybe Hello, Peter, since everybody knew Melina was in it. It gave us so much. It gave us exactly what happens in terms of how everything was kicked off. That's not a teaser. That is not a first look at Spider-Man. That is a full-on week before the movie. That's what that trailer was.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it was meant to be. I mean, I know why I know why their hand was forced, but I gotta believe that there was something much more scaled back. You do not throw out a 2.5-minute trailer the week before your next feature film drops, and you don't have a new Shang-Chi
that part.
But
again, is that Sony fucking with the deal?
But we know that Marvel lies, so they can throw out a 2-minute trailer and a minute of it not appear in the movie, or appear in a way which is completely different from how it was presented. So
that's true.
They can do that.
I mean, they
Okay,
had that
now-
scene with Captain America pushing up against Thanos' hand, which
Yes.
I mean,
Which
so
was
that's
and,
great.
and the scene of them all running together with Hulk and
With the
everyone.
And the
Line.
Hulk
It never
never
happened.
did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know what? That's the difference between fan service. You can't throw a pumpkin bomb onto screen and say,
Yeah, we're playing
and
with
not
you. Yeah.
have Green Goblin in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Now, you never saw Electro's body, and so that could have just been a lightning storm. But we saw a tentacle and we saw a pumpkin bomb.
Yeah.
And
And we
so
saw
we
Doc
know
Ock.
that. Huh?
We saw
The
Doc
tentacle.
Ock.
Yeah.
No, we saw the tentacle and Doc Ock, yes, and then we saw
Yeah.
the pumpkin bomb. The interesting thing to me, though, is that the multiverse didn't just bend space; it also bent time, because Alfred Molina died at the end of Spider-Man 2,
Yes.
presumably.
Yes.
I mean, he dragged his
Mhm.
thing into the river to drown it. So when the multiverse opened, it opened 20 years ago. And sucked a de-aged Doc Ock into this current MCU
Or-
continuity.
Or is this just a different Doc Ock, a variant?
I mean, I guess.
It doesn't have to be the Doc
Doesn't
Ock
have to
that
be
we
the same
knew.
timeline.
Just like
It doesn't.
Jamie, just like this Electro that we're seeing with Jamie Foxx. He's even said, nah, I'm not the Electro that y'all remember. I am Electro, but I
Okay.
ain't gonna be this crazy looking dude that y'all hated on so badly. You
Well,
know,
as
in
long
that
as he's
last
not
night.
Ralph Boner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All of these people giving all these talks.
What's interesting is the fact that right after this trailer dropped and the impact that this trailer made, Sony right away made the decision to say, let's go on and hold off on Venom. My
Yes.
question is
Oh.
why?
Yes.
Why would they
Who
push
wants it?
Venom back again?
Well, they just
Look,
dropped
that
a great.
was
the
gonna
actual-
be
the
their
first
launch of
good
their
Venom
Spider-Verse.
trailer. Right.
Yes.
Because the first good Venom trailer just actually dropped, and it shows a lot of
Yes.
carnage. It shows all the CGI.
I don't
It
wanna-
gives you
I
a
don't
lot more
wanna
Woody
watch it.
Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, whatever his name is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
gives a lot of explanation. It gives a lot of depth. Venom is fading into the background. I mean, just kind of like
Maybe-
when Venom made the transition into initial anti-hero and Carnage became the only thing that anybody ever wanted to see about symbiotes, because he was violent and doing all the really cool stuff. I don't know, because you can't kill Carnage
No.
in this
Do you
movie.
think that this? Do you think that this Venom will have cell phones with cameras?
Mm.
Yeah. They might live.
It's an
It
open
barely-
question.
If it ever
It
comes up.
barely
Hey,
has Tom Hardy.
Look,
you know
I
what's
think-
crazy though? No. What happened to Morbius? Because that
Oh,
also was supposed to
it
be
got
pushed
pushed
What
back,
back.
happened
yeah.
to that?
That's
It
a
took
great
Morbius's
Yep.
spot. It took Morbius's spot in 2022. So now Morbius
So
has got to be pushed back.
That's got to be pushed back to what, end of the year? Then that's a lot.
Oh, it
For-
can't be.
and
It
then
can't be end
for-
of the year. It's got. I mean, they're going to push it to summer, right? Or
Yeah, but-
late summer.
I mean, maybe.
I could have sworn
Maybe.
that. I could have sworn that Spider-Man. There's a reference of Spider-Man to him. There's a reference of Spider-Man in Morpheus. You know, when you keep pushing,
yeah,
these
that
movies
that
back,
he's guilty
they
or whatever.
become
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Well, no, you have Michael Keaton's Vulture in the Morbius
You also see a
trailer.
poster of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
Guilty
there's
in
a
the
poster.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So again, if you don't release the Morbius
It
film,
becomes
and
irrelevant.
what's really weird is Sony, after here's the funny part, is the Spider-Man trailer drops and then Sony rebrands their Spider-Man universe. They changed the whole name of it for the Sony Spider-Man universe or whatever the fuck. So but they did that move after this trailer dropped that Marvel produced, and then they pushed their own film that they produced back. They said, we're gonna push the thing we were working on back, the thing that the MCU had nothing to do with. MCU has nothing to do with Venom.
Twala, that says to me that either Sony knows
It's
it
whack.
can't compete with the Marvel-esque Tom Holland Spider-Man, or they know that they're not going to connect those universes anytime soon.
They're
correct.
not going to be connected. And
Because
let's
you
be-
can't-
Let's be honest. Venom only did well because at the time that Venom dropped, people were ecstatic about it looking like Spider-Man, even though there's no Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Venom
well,
and
on
then
its own-
people saw it and they said, hell to the nah.
What is this?
Yeah. That is true, because when I went into it thinking Spider-Man-ish. I was in that mindset. We had just finished watching Into the Spider-Verse, and Spider-Man was doing his thing in the MCU. I thought there was going to be and then when you watch it and you're like, how long ago was this shot? How long when the first spaceship crash, the shuttle crashes, you're like, when did you do this movie? It was whack, right? That was whack.
I have a Walkman.
Well, you didn't even want him on the same coast as New York Spider-Man. You sent his ass all the way to San Francisco, which had no possible relation to New York City and Peter Parker at all. You just moved him to the other side of the universe. And as far as Sony rebranding the Spider-Verse, I wouldn't be surprised if they just called it the Washington Football Team, because there's nothing about what they are trying to do that makes any sense. Morbius is not even Guardians of the Galaxy level character. He's certainly not Blade. You're gonna fuck around and let Blade come out before Morbius. And
I'm fine with that.
Goddamn rap. Because
I'm way cool with that.
And Jared Leto looks right. He
does
absolutely right for the character. No problem at all with that. But I think they did realize how badly they messed up. They not only did they mess up the MCU, because now all anybody wants to talk about is when Spider-Man is coming.
Right.
They pushed out a better Eternals trailer that tried to give some context, tried to answer fan questions, as we talked about last time. But nobody cares anything more about the MCU other than seeing the Multiverse of Madness get kicked off in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then how it's going to be resolved with Wanda as the big villain of the actual Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
I mean, at the end
you
of the
just
day,
skipped over everything.
You did, because at the end of the day, Spider-Man is and has been one of the number one selling properties when it comes to toys and recognizability. So the notion that this dropped, especially which is most important, a week before the next movie comes out, which we're crossing fingers that we're going to be able to stay in theaters for 45 days, because everything is getting shut down every 2 seconds.
Yeah,
there's also that part.
It's nuts.
That's actually that's one of those things that I'm like, are you sure, Shang-Chi, that you want to force this theater hand? Are you sure about that? Because oh man, bro, dude.
You know what?
They sound like my dean at one of the schools I teach at. They're just winging it. Let's just wing it.
What? No, you know what they're doing? They are screwing with ScarJo, because this is not going to do well. It's not going to do well enough, and it will be fine. It will be the number one movie of the week, God willing, if Free Guy doesn't have another really strong week. But
wow,
it is going to do okay. But this is going to do two things. One, sorry, Scarlett, this one didn't have simultaneous day and date, and it was still impacted because COVID is the main driver of the failure. That's one. And two, it's going to guarantee day and date for Eternals. Because I tell you right now, ain't nobody rushing out to see Eternals like that. Now, Spider-Man is Christmas, and that's far enough away that Spider-Man is going to be in theaters because they want that. But I don't see how Eternals doesn't slip by this.
Frank, I'm really going to be curious to see, and this is where the anti-Asian hate is coming in. I'm curious to see how this works.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm super curious to see how this does.
It'll do well in China.
Anti-Asian hate.
I'm sure
China might be the dispositive factor.
Yeah.
That
I'm gonna watch it. So,
I'm getting my tickets.
Yeah.
Look, I definitely want to see it, and I'm with you, Ryan. I don't want any spoilers, but my ex-wife, her whole damn school damn near is shut down because of an outbreak. You know what I'm saying? My daughter, her class got shut down because of a damn, outbreak. It's every time I turn around, it's a fucking outbreak. They're shutting down. That's making me go, I don't know if it's worth it. Even though I really, really, really want to see Shang-Chi and I want to see it on the big screen. I want to see, how Fing Fang Foom looks on the big screen. I want to see all that.
I want to see it anywhere, but I can only see it on the big screen, so I have no choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it in Prime. I'm gonna see it in my Prime seat. I was in E9.
I'll see it in Coach. I don't care. I just want to see it.
E9 is where I was. It was at, and so that's what I'm.
Class.
Yeah, no. I'm telling you, first class. That Prime is the business.
I'm sure it is.
Prime is.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, you're not on A list. Is that why? You don't want.
I'm not on D list. I'm not on any of that. I'm nah, man.
It's worth it, but I don't know. Besides,
we're gonna drop $200 at the theater next week.
Who? You dropping what?
Because I'm talking about with all the snacks and
yeah.
Tony Stark. Shit.
No, and everyone that goes, and then I remember, Liz, you said sometimes the kids bring the cousins, and then you got to take care of them.
Oh,
Bebe's kids.
No cousins.
Oh,
no extras.
They only the 5 o'clock show is. Or the 6 o'clock show is Dolby. The 7 o'clock show is Prime.
First world problems.
Look, besides those fantastic things, what else have y'all seen happening in the week besides Expanse and What If and
Witcher?
No Way Home.
The Witcher animated the one shot on
the
Netflix.
Wolf one.
The
Wolf
Nightmare
story?
of the Wolf or whatever.
Boom. Okay, that's good.
It's very good. It's not the Henry Cavill character, whatever that guy's name is. It's not him with the white hair. It's not Geralt. It's a different Witcher. And it's very similar. The animation, I think, is better than Castlevania, which I really did enjoy. I loved the Castlevania
Yes, it was
anime.
good.
And
Yes,
this is a one shot. But it's similar in that you have this Witcher character, and he's fighting a female protagonist with or female antagonist with magic powers, and it's very bloody.
Okay,
very bloody, and it starts off with a family of black nobles getting killed because, of course, but it was good. It was very well done. I would much rather watch the animated Witcher than the Henry Cavill Witcher, to be honest. If Witcher were done just like Castlevania was done as a series, I would be into Witcher 110%.
Hell, look, man, have Henry Cavill voice that shit then. Like,
well, and that's probably fine. Yeah, though I did not like the live action one. It was okay.
It was all right.
But this one did a much more effective job in however long the movie is, 2 hours, whatever it is. It did a much better job of laying the groundwork of what the mythology is, what the world building was, why the Witchers are outcast, why they're hated, blah, 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 blah. It just did a much better job of creating characters that you could become invested in, as opposed to this is a Polish co-production of some live action foolishness with Henry Cavill in a wig being taciturn. Nah.
What about the girl? Jason Momoa's new movie. Did anybody see it?
Oh,
Sweet Girl. Yeah, I saw it.
I saw it.
It's a good streaming show.
It's a good streaming film, Liz. I agree. The highly improbable. The thing when you get to the end, you're like, no fucking way. Wait. Only in the movie.
She's 85 pounds, and I know they established her as a jujitsu person, and jujitsu is an art where the smaller person can gain purchase and all that other stuff. This was a professional Ukrainian assassin.
Yes.
Kiss my ass. Yes. Kiss my ass.
That's what I said. Only in a movie. And here's the thing, only in a movie from the 80s. Like, that to me is the type of thinking that went into 80s movies where you were like, when you watch them again now, you're like, no, there's no way. There's no way The Last Boy Scout could have happened past the first couple of scenes.
So she wasn't even a super soldier?
No, she was not. She was not Hannah. She was nothing.
No.
She was not.
She wasn't
Morgan.
Trained. Look, she was working out at the local YMCA. No, she was working out at the local Y. She wasn't out of high school yet, and she's killing motherfuckers like a straight up assassin.
It was dumb, and they have a third act twist, which honestly was as improbable as anything else, because there were several situations of dialogue where I was like,
And look,
you're
I
lying
was
to me,
tempted.
screenwriter person. You're a fucking
Right,
liar.
right. And here's the thing, I
Asshole.
was so tempted. I was like, wait a second. Should I go back and try to figure out how to figure this out? Like
No.
when at one point,
Nope.
and then I was like, you know what?
No.
I don't want to go back.
Because, and here's the thing,
I don't
here's the
care.
thing that extra pissed me off. When the sequence that actually was the inflection moment of the film happens, I said to myself, did they just kill Jason Momoa?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
because you see the wound, and I was like, that was a professional assassin wound.
Yeah.
That was not a paper cut. That was a sepsis, automatic sepsis. Like, if you don't bleed out, wound. And then he showed up, and I was like, I guess he recovered. But then he was still killing motherfuckers like a superstar. I'm like, if you did survive that wound, you're not doing what you're doing.
You're not. Unless
You're
you
not.
are a super soldier, and he seemed to be a father at the gym every once in a while.
Spoiler alert, sweet
Sorry.
girl sees dead people.
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay. It's
I wasn't
not
planning
the
on
Sixth
watching
Sense. It's not the Sixth Sense. But
Look,
it's
a
got
nice-
that shamalama ding dong twist on it.
It's a streaming
Lies.
movie, and it's like,
Yeah.
here's the thing, because it's Netflix, I'm not angry that I spent my time. But
Right. No,
I
when
feel
you
that.
have
Whatever.
these
I feel
HBO movies that were supposed to be movies that were
theaters,
supposed to
yes.
be in theaters, I get angry.
That's the difference. That
That's
is
why I
the
spent
big
my time.
So, Liz, regarding Jason Momoa, I bet you didn't see that coming.
I did not, but I'm going to see him tonight.
Okay,
will
well, I'm a
see
see
you later.
Shang-Chi next week.
Yeah,
Tawala.
Look,
Do
I'm
your
all
thing, man.
there for Shang-Chi next week.
Oh.
What if next week? Because are we doing Wednesday and Friday? Because we got What
I
If,
can't do
and then we got
Wednesday.
Shang-Chi.
You guys can do it without me.
Let's just keep it to Friday, because
All right, go.
I know the double
No
dips are
problem.
tough. Plus, it's a holiday weekend, and so
Go.
we want to
Not a problem.
make it easy breezy, beautiful.
Yeah.
What number of Nerdoramas is that going to be, though, Tawala?
Next week, it'll be
It's going to
780.
be a weird 780. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be 780. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's all good. It is all gravy. Without an Anthony to bid us good news, everybody. Mo, take us out.
Put that coffee down. Coffee is for closers.
Sugar. Sugar.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Not the mic. Oh, the mic.
Oh my God. I guess it falls to me. Where is my Loki suit?
Dr. Liz.
I don't want to steal your thunder.
Wow. That was hot.
Excelsior.
What
Ryan,
happened
I don't
to
know about
Ryan?
you and that mic. Ryan, that mic is hilarious.